with that in mind. And that's exactly what I plan on doing first. So, first of all, we had a hearing last week with Secretary LaHood testifying regarding the California high-speed rail project, that we won't be dissuaded by the naysayers and the critics, was his quote. The critics here, however, are not simply just individual citizens, but also the nonpartisan Legislative Analyst's Office, what is R in California, the same as GAO, which has said it is increasingly likely that the ICS may be all that is ever built. And also the peer review group, who has also said the Central Valley portion would yield an asset of very little value. So the question is, if that is the likely outcome, why wouldn't the Department of Transportation reevaluate whether the project is worth more than the $3 billion in federal funding?
Well, we continue to support the California High-Speed Rail Authority in the efforts of Governor Brown. We continue to believe that the need for the project is indisputable. And we also believe that the work that has been done with this most recent business study, which has gone through a very, very thorough international peer review, is a very, very conservative document that begins to address many of the legitimate concerns that folks have had. But we continue to believe that it's, from all analysis, continues to be a very strong and very doable project.
Thank you. Mr. Szabo, you said from all analysis. I would just remind you that California has almost a supermajority of Democrats in the Assembly, almost a supermajority of Democrats in the Senate, and has a Democrat governor. You would not say that the nonpartisan Legislative Analyst's Office is a conservative estimate by any means, would you?
What I would say is we find it interesting that they've had no dialogue with us, none, not one conversation. And frankly, we believe that we can provide a lot of professional, technical analysis and assistance that is based on our experience from looking at projects around the world, from decades of experience, and quite frankly, could probably clarify a lot, an awful lot, of the misconceptions that they have.
So the state and federal government just not communicating?
The state government in our office is communicating very effectively. California High-Speed Rail, we're communicating very effectively. My point is that for some reason the LAO has not chosen to engage us at all in any discussion, not one, better understand some of the issues and some of the concerns that they raise.
Have you reached out to them?
I can find that out for you. I don't know. I have not personally. But again, if they're doing research and want to be unbiased and accurate, isn't it incumbent on them as they do their research to make sure they talk to everybody that's appropriate? I mean, you don't limit your research to just those sources that you want to hear from.
No, I would absolutely agree. But the California taxpayers are on the hook for $9.95 billion, and in that bond it was written in that the legislature could call that back at any time with a majority vote. So before the federal government comes to this committee and says we need $53 billion for high-speed rail, all of that going to California, I would assume that California's commitment of $9.95 billion at the minimum there would be a conversation there. I mean, that would only seem likely. And if California is not communicating with you well, I don't know why you would obligate the rest of the taxpayers across the nation on anything further. So my recommendation would be I will recommend to them as well, but obviously we need to start some better communication. The second question I have is,